Actually, you can
Uh,
you can have a blurry background with Zoom as well.
You do. I know you can. I haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah, it's a little tricky. It's like you need to go to the settings and then background and filters, and there's
Well,
virtual
look at
background and
that.
blur.
There's a virtual one there. Okay, let's see what happens if I change the camera. Oh, that works. Alrighty, let's go. So we've got, did it start the record? Yes. So welcome to February 17th, Java operators meeting. This meeting is being recorded and will be put on the internet at some point. I just got the instructions today, so I'm going to probably upload this one first and then start going back through the old ones and uploading those. So let me go ahead and get the agenda shared. Come on. There we go. Move that tab. Share window. Sorry for the play-by-play. Okay. All right, there we go. All right, so do we have any new faces that would like to introduce themselves? Okay, let's go ahead and move on. Anyone have anything they wanted to bring up today?
I was working yesterday, interesting things, maybe that to discuss and see some input, but nothing else. Maybe some update on progress.
Okay. Okay, does anyone else have anything that they wanted to announce? I will throw one announcement is the PR to merge the latest release of the operators plugin into the SDK is in flight. There was a flaky ETE test that's blocking the merging into the SDK, but the likelihood is it will be in SDK 118, which is either next week or the week after. So that will come out.
Okay, right.
That's about it. Attila, if you want, you can go with your
just
item.
quickly.
Oh, go ahead.
A shameless plug. Started writing. Just posted the link in the chat. But started writing a blog series on developers.redhat.com regarding on the topic of writing Kubernetes operators using the Java Operator SDK and Quarkus. And part 1 has been published. So yeah, look forward to part 2 and probably part 3 and most likely 4 as well. We'll see. Thank you.
That's cool. Thanks. Okay, if no one else has anything, you want to go ahead, Attila?
Yeah, sure, I can share my screen.
Awesome. There you go.
Desktop 1. I mean, there is some update. So we are mainly working with Chris on the MVP of the dependent resources, and we had a lots of iterations about the API, the configurations, and there are some remaining kind of issues to fix. And basically, I'm today working on which one is that? This one. I will explain a little bit later. And there are a few which I think will take at least 1-2 days to fix. This is at least 1 day of work and with testing and everything. So, but I hopefully next week, end of next week, after we updated the docs and everything, we are going to release this. And for now, I think it looks pretty good. It's still quite simple in terms of the API. It's very simple, and yeah, it should be extremely useful. So I hope everybody will start writing operators with this. So yeah, one interesting point I'm trying to fix today is maybe I show it on, explain the problem on the example. Debug recon, it's not debug, it's the page, reconciler. So here we have the dependent resources, and let's say we reconciled more resources, and when we want to use the resource, which it basically represents in somewhere else, maybe some other dependent resource, or just in like here using some information in the status. So, and it's not a trivial problem in general to fix this. It's when something is reconciled, it can be created, updated on the server. We receive back the objects, but in general, we read this Git resource goes to the informer in the background and gets the object or the resource from the informer's cache. So after a create or update, it takes some time when this happens, that we send the resource to Kubernetes API server, and through the webhook, the informer receives it and gets it to the cache. So if we reconcile and instantly get the resource, there is a chance that we still don't have the fresh object in the cache. There is either the old one or nothing that we are creating it first time. Is it clear? What is so this is the problem statement.
So the problem is you could potentially get a dirty cache read of the older one. Okay.
Yes, and this is because of the abstraction, because you not necessarily reconcile it all the time, or you can just access some dependent resource directly, just read the state. It's so that's why it kind of needs to be aware of both. So again, the whole API looks like this. Oh, this is not up to date, but basically the idea is that we have a get resource, reconcile, delete, and basically now these three are the main ones. Others is just something for configuring and creating the event source. So basically we want to allow at any time get the fresh resource as much as it's possible. So how I try to fix this today for Kubernetes objects is having I just sketch out the idea. So have a temporary resource cache, which is basically puts if we created the object, we receive the updated resource in the response. Right? It's a response, we always get the fresh resource, and we just put it into a cache, because that we know that at that point of time, this is the most recent resource when it was returned. Maybe it's not the most recent in the next line because somebody from a third party updated it, but that's it. So when we are going to read the resource, first we want to check if there is the resource in the cache, in the temporal cache. If it's not there, then we read it from the informer cache. And yeah, so it's when we put it in the cache and the temporal cache, how does it get out from there? And it's basically the idea is then we register a kind of an event handler for the informer, and there is a new resource in the informer because somebody updated it or just the event from this our update. Then we remove it from the temporal cache, and we know that from that point we can use the cache of the informer further. So this is kind of a solution roughly. It's I think it should work. There is just one very tiny possibility that if there is garbage collection happening in the background or something, the virtual machine stopped or something, that we receive an older event here and we remove it from the temporal cache, and then we theoretically could get still the stale object, but nevertheless this is possible anyways if you don't use dependent resources or not. So basically this should work most of the 99.999% of cases. There is a tiny possibility that still can go wrong, but that can go wrong anyways in the normal operator implementations too. Then it will just reconcile again, and eventually we are consistent.
Well, that was actually what I was going to ask, is if you still potentially have the same problem, why do the temporal cache? Will the informer? Because to me, my understanding is even though you get an older version, you run through your reconcile, when you try to do the update again, it should fail. And then you effectively evict it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but if you compare it with the previous implementations, first of all, we do it because it can be done, very elegant, quite fair, and very useful. Basically, the previously we created the resource and we used this. From that point, we used the object with what we returned by the update operation on the Kubernetes API. So actually, we already had this problem kind of solved if we don't use dependent resources. So it's basically this problem not happens that time. What I was referring to that this could happen is that, for example, if somebody creates an update, it's an object, and meanwhile, but just right after that, some other party updated the object. In the reconcile, we still use the reference what we received after the create update.
Yep.
But at that point, it's already stale in our memory.
Yes.
So, but that's again, this is the situation where it's very low probability. Then we reconcile. So we are this special situation is still kind of there, but we are solving with this normal workflow to always use the resource which is available actually after the update or create. So so we are solving the very common problem. Just still can happen in some special case.
Okay. That's fair. Okay, thanks.
Okay, so just my literally was sitting there. More ways to solve this. So it's but this was the most kind of transparent and probably elegant without hacking some caches of the informer and something like that. So yeah, that's a kind of update from my daily nightmares from today. So yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, back to this. Okay, something happened to my doc, agenda doc. Okay, was that you? Yep, that's Mark. Thank you. Let me share that now. It was moving. Gosh. Okie dokie. So thanks for the update, Attila. That looks pretty cool.
Okay.
Let's see, any new issues? No. So it looks like there's one. Oh, I remember this one. The user wanted to decouple the construction from Quarkus itself. Yeah, this one, because we chose to do the first plugin base it off of Quarkus. I'm leaving this one open. There has been talk of possibly being able to generate a plain old Java project or even Spring Boot in the future, but it's not high priority right now. So I'm leaving this against the operator plugins in case someone wants to either contribute or we actually get to that point.
Yeah.
That was the only one. Actually, this one was done. I already merged those. Okay. Any new issues? Let's see. Any untriaged issues? ETE test framework should provide capability to perform actions on a failed test.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I mean, we could do it, but we have a lot of other stuff to do actually at the moment. So I was just planning on leaving it be for now and see if the priority increased or if anyone wanted to contribute that feature.
So they want a ETE framework.
No, we kind of have one already. I
Okay.
mean, there's a JUnit extension. It's just like a hook into the testing framework to be able to run additional actions
Okay.
once the test is done, I guess, or well, I guess on failure. Yeah.
Leave that there. Yeah, that makes sense to leave. Again, it's not something that we can do right now, but it's also not something we are not opposed to having something like that. So.
And there's a lot of new issues, but most of those are related to the
Dependent resources.
Independent resources, yeah.
Okay. Event sources for the same resource type in multiple namespaces. 110 of the SDK. Event sources for the same type but different namespaces can be registered.
I thought we had addressed that already, but
Yeah, I think I fixed it. It was just a cache. I think just we didn't close this issue.
Yeah, yeah, I think I left it open because right now it's a little awkward, so it's not obvious how to do it. So it's just a matter of the fix is a little above your screen actually. That you need to override a method in your dependent resource, I guess.
Yes, that's true.
So it's just I just kept it open because we probably need to clean it up. Like add the name of the dependent resource to the constructor and provide a way to provide the name as well via the annotations as well. So maybe we should add that to the. Well, I guess not. Let's not do that for this. Should probably be scheduled for after the MVP is released.
This change?
yeah, it probably wouldn't be too difficult to implement actually, but yeah, I forgot about that.
I think I would continue focusing on your MVP and then add these things afterwards.
Mm.
Okay. Did you want to add a comment to this issue, or do you think it's got enough right now?
No, it's good enough right now.
Okay.
Just it would be nice if we could somehow reschedule an issue to be pinged after X amount of time, I guess. But I guess at some point there, I mean, we have the stale bot, but it's not exactly the same concern there. But I guess at some point, if it becomes stale, we will get ping again, and then we can work on it again. But we probably should work on it before it gets stale.
Right. Now, one thing, I don't have that set up in our meeting thing. I know for like the operator framework SDK and the KubeBuilder one, we have a query that we use to go through the issues. And that query, I'm trying to remember if it's looking at milestone or just labels. But I think it's just milestones. But either way, there is
have milestones. Yeah.
Yeah, there is a way that every time we do a triage, when we hit the link, if we want something to get re-triaged, we remove either the milestone or some of the labels. I can't remember which one it is, and that causes it to show up again. Right now, I'm just looking at all issues, but I could look into seeing what we could do to make it so that if we want to leave something open without considering it done, we could just keep it and always re-triage it like this. But yeah, I agree. We also have a backlog on ours. So we have each milestone, we have a version, and then we have a backlog. And the backlog is things that we don't currently want to do in the next two releases, but we still want to consider. And then we have a label we have two labels. One is important soon and important long-term. The important long-term ones are, yes, these are things we would like to consider, but not in the next two, maybe even three releases. So those go onto the backlog with long-term. The important soon is we can't get it done between now and, the next 6 weeks, or so they go into backlog with important soon. And then every time we do a triage, we kind of go back and look at the soon ones. Are these ready to be pulled in yet? So I'll show those. Maybe next week I'll show those labels, and then we can talk if we want to use those here or not. That might help be able to have another way of tracking things that you don't want to necessarily close but can't jump on right now. Okay. Infinite loop exhausted. This one says it's a bug. Oh, okay.
Yes, this is maybe we can something do about it, but actually not that important. So if we have this feature when there's just error handling happens, and there's a possibility to update the status with some error message or any data. And if this data is constantly changing because I don't know, timestamps or something like that I did there, then we always receive a new event. And that is basically creates this infinite loop because that again ends in error and things like that. So if actually there is no variable data and it's properly checked in that error handler, then this doesn't happen. But yeah, we can do something about it so this doesn't, so this shouldn't happen basically, or prevent it somehow.
So you end up in an infinite loop of checking and re-erroring, checking and erroring and reconciling.
Yes, because we received that event again and again. So
yeah, we had this problem with our Ansible implementation. I'll definitely take a look to verify it. But I think what we ended up doing was, so in particular, when we were creating a resource in OpenShift, there were some other attributes, timestamps that were getting added, and that would trigger it to come back. And the reconcile loop was only trying to change certain fields. And it was like, oh, I need to change this. It would change it, send it back, and it kept coming back. And it was because of the timestamp that was triggering it. And I want to say we had to change the comparison to be whether the fields were done and ignore it and be like, okay, our changes are there, we're done. Don't ignore the other things that are on it. But I'll verify that to make sure. But it sounded very similar. It was kind of annoying because it's like, I already made the change. I told you to go back to your replica account and everything is fine, but there's these timestamps that are causing it to come back through.
Yeah, exactly. And even here we solved it just by removing the timestamp from the status.
Yeah,
and that's it. So it's annoying and could be solved in general. So it's basically after the last, because we have a limit on retries, and if after the last retry is executed again, then we could just prevent any updates coming from this error handler, and that would kind of solve this. But yeah, it's some work. It's not important, I guess. I mean, not high priority, because it just works if you don't have these timestamps or some other values.
Okay. If I find it, the Ansible thing, I may add a comment just to kind of show correlation. It looks like all these other ones have been treated. There's this one. Doesn't have any comments. Informer, event source, throwing null pointer exception if the watch resource is deleted.
I thought we fixed that, didn't we?
There's a PR here from January 14th. That looks like it got merged.
Yes, I think this was actually an issue with, first of all, I'm not sure if on our side there was a problem. It turned out that it's not a problem with the SDK, it was a problem with the reconcile, right, Chris? Or
yeah. I mean, I don't recall all the details, but yeah, there's an issue there. We should probably, well, actually, the associated PR is closed in Fabricate. I don't know if there's. Yeah, we should probably loop back on this issue and see if we can close it or not.
Maybe. Did you want me to add it? Is there a milestone that you? Nope, we don't want to add it to P2.
Yeah, we should probably create a new milestone actually at some point.
Okay. Issue 830. Took a note. This is an older one, Gradle. Oh. This is definitely not high priority. It's more of an enhancement or feature request. Okay, I think that's all the. I mean, that goes back to January 10th. No new issues. We've got those done. Anything that was in flight from last time? No. P. All right. Okay. Does anyone have any PR or anything that they wanted to dig in further today?
No.
Okay. I mean, if not, then we can call this one early today. I know last week we went full time with some decent discussion, so but I think we've accomplished what we set out to do for today. So if no one has any objections, I'll give you 27 minutes back.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Thanks, guys. Have a
Thank
good
you.
afternoon.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you, folks. Take care. Bye.